Welcome to the podcast today. My good friend Cameron. He is the head of ecosystem at Near AI. Now, for people that are completely unfamiliar with Near AI, what are you guys hoping to accomplish over there?
Yeah. So first of all, it's great to be here. At Near AI, we are building two primary products, both to facilitate user-owned AI, which means your models, your agents, your data belongs to you, the user, and not a third party. We do believe that AI is sort of the last frontier of technology, or at least second to last, maybe behind quantum. Let's see. That will essentially generate the rest of scientific discovery. And so we want to make sure that users that are participating in this own their data and are in control.
Well, funny enough, you mentioned quantum. I feel like quantum is the scary thing for all blockchains and things of that nature. Like, are we all cooked when quantum comes?
It depends if your blockchain can rotate all their keys and or have some sort of like post-quantum secure like elliptic curve. Right now with Near, we don't have a virtual machine that is post-quantum secure. But what is really cool is if one does get created, which I assume will, assuming the quantum exists, we can just move everything literally from like one virtual machine to another. So as long as your blockchain can facilitate that sort of easy composability, it's possible. But right now, we don't really see a need to invest in this.
That makes sense. Well, you guys are very focused on AI. So, some people might be listening. They're like, I got Claude, I got, ChatGPT. Why do I even need something like a decentralized AI or to own my data?
It's a great question. Right now, I don't think you do, unless you are, giving away tons of personal information that can be used against you in the future. We have seen time and time again how this happens in Web 2, whether it be Cambridge Analytica on Facebook or all the data breaches that have happened. We think that this is so much scarier in a world where superintelligence exists because it's no longer just going to be foreign actors who are trying to, hack these servers that can literally be AI itself. And so this is going to get crazier than any of us can imagine. So we want to ensure that people's data and sort of user-owned internet is possible, which right now we only believe is really feasible through trusted execution environments. We could dive into some of those details in a bit, but there's some really cool hardware and other sort of cryptographic techniques that can enable this today. So it's all about putting the right pieces together and making it usable.
Well, I definitely want to get into T's later. So let's say I get, some blood records back. I get some vitals pulled. Should I not just be immediately uploading that into a ChatGPT window?
No, don't do that. Don't do that. First of all, it can be leaked. It's been leaked before. I don't need to call any specific teams out, but this exists. It will get leaked eventually. And then two, you don't know how those companies are really going to use that. We saw earlier, like Facebook days, or even Amazon, or literally pick your tech company of choice, where they get the ecosystem and community to like do all this work. In the Facebook example, it's all like the Facebook games. And Amazon example, it's all like the basic products that now are called Amazon Basics. They get you to do all the work. They identify like exactly how to build the same product that you already built for much cheaper, send it to the user. But instead of it being just your vitals or anything, it could just be like all doctors or all lawyers or all everything. So they get all the value capture. This is crazy. I don't know. I think this, like what we're working on, is probably one of the only ways that we can address this. And it's not just us. We want to work with everybody who's focused on this mission because it is so critical to the future of humanity. So I'd say no, don't upload all your genomic data, or don't even do 23andMe to begin with. Now they're going bankrupt. It's being sold the highest bidder. This is the sort of dystopic future that we will continue living in unless things change.
Yeah, I remember this must have been years ago. I was listening to a Tim Ferriss episode where he was like, don't do 23andMe. They're like going to make, tailor-made viruses that will only attack your genes. And I was like, you know what? I was looking back at that when I saw the 23andMe thing. I'm like, Tim was a smart guy.
I got messed like my mom did it and my brother did it. So you can triangulate it to me. And so it's like, I didn't even consent that. And I told them not to. So this is how wild it's getting. And to your example about like, creating a virus, it doesn't even need to be a human that creates that virus. This is where it gets really weird. It doesn't need to be a malicious person on the side of the world who hacks the database to do the things. It can be a network of agents or a network of bad actors. Um, and again, there's always going to be a human. I mean, not always, but in the short future, it's always going to be a human on the other end. Long term, I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I do wonder about this, and I didn't expect to go down this rabbit hole, but
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so if there's a human acting, incorrectly, you can essentially put that person in jail. I mean, we can argue whether that's the most humane thing to do, but like, typically that's the solution. And it's like, well, what do you do if there's like a nefarious group of agents that are just banding together and they're like, you know what, we like economic return, we see a very good arbitrage opportunity to just rob and steal. And it's like, what do? You just blacklist a bunch of addresses? You're on mute, by the way.
Man, I don't know. I was actually contacted by like some of the highest ranking people in the US government asking what's going on here? Like, how can we hold people accountable? And I'm pretty much telling them like, well, due to like what I call like jurisdictional arbitrage, you can just hop to another nation, ship some code. That code can build agents that are solely focused on optimizing for phishing grandmas with voices that sound like their grandsons or granddaughters. And there's no way that you're going to hold them accountable. Just like we can't hold people accountable today for rug pulling and fleeing to Dubai. There either needs to be like an entire world government, which I am absolutely not advocating for, um, or I guess like cryptographic guarantees, but I don't see a solution, honestly. I think we're kind of cooked on the enforcement piece.
Yeah, the enforcement piece is, I assume you just have to start, blacklisting addresses and start being like, hey, this is like a known actor. I mean, I guess at least if things are happening on the blockchain, there's a lot of scannability. You can get around those types of things, but it is we are really entering a brave new world. Not to quote Ted Kaczynski on the podcast, but
Yeah.
he says, how can you hope to conserve anything in the face of rapid technological change? I always come back to that quote. I'm like, you know what, Ted, you're kind of right about that one thing specifically.
Yeah, I mean, not to digress too far, but Ilya knew this was coming. Like,
Yeah.
he co-wrote the paper that started all of this today. And so he knew that, like, wow, we open Pandora's box. Like, there will eventually be models that can generate code better than humans. And it's going to write some really great code that protects a lot of people and do a lot of amazing stuff in this world. But there also can generate code that's very malicious. And so this is like very wild and out there. But the two co-founders initially got together to build a code generation model to rewrite the entire internet in a formally verified version of Rust, like the programming language, to secure it in a world where superintelligence is running rampant. Because you're going to need some formal guarantees that your agent is safe, your data is safe. And there is this field of math and computer science called formal verification, where you are able to prove that these safety guarantees exist. But the hard part is that there's very few people who can actually do this work. So their goal, why Near got started off to begin with, which is kind of wild, was to create this model to recreate everything on the internet, or like, all the, I guess, like infrastructure, so we can have a safer internet. Because humans aren't going to write it, agents and models are going to write it. So that's far away. If anyone's interested in this, there is a paper that was just announced by DeepSeek, of all companies, that is created a model to do formal verification generation, like proof generation, which is kind of one of the golden geese in the world of AI right now. Like, if you can solve that problem, you win, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, very great foresight from Ilya and company to see this coming. So now, with that kind of framing in mind, it's like, hey, we foresee a world where there is going to be super intelligence. Like, AI is near. To use the term. What can we do? So we talked about trusted execution environments. So like, how we lead up to kind of seeing this potential problem on the horizon and solutions for it.
Yeah, I mean, first things first, stop uploading your personal genetic data into OpenAI. Like, let's start.
But
Let's
they're
start
open.
there. Yeah, it's not. So, yeah, that's step one. Two, everyone should educate themselves. I mean, for those who are like genuinely interested in this stuff, like the builders, should educate themselves on the state of trusted execution environments and NVIDIA's confidential computing stack. A lot of this like TEE adoption, for those who might not know, trusted execution environments are essentially black boxes that sit on a piece of hardware where you cannot tell the actions or activity that's happening in that device or on that chip. Now, these have existed for quite a while, primarily living on the CPU. Now they're available on the GPU, so you're able to process information pretty much that is fully encrypted everywhere. And so everything can be encrypted at all times. And you're able to verify the actions by sort of like hashing the activity without having to disclose that activity, which is pretty valuable for making sure that like the model that you're using is indeed the one you think you're using. Because again, it's not a huge issue right now as we speak, but like OpenAI is trying to figure out ads inside the platform. Perplexity is working on this publicly. It's only until we sort of turn on that advertising layer where people's data is really up for not people's data. It's people's like ability to be influenced is being sold to the highest bidder. And in order to address this, it needs to be like users aren't going to give a crap. It has to be invisible. We have to make this invisible for them. And so, yeah, this is. I mean, I'm happy to dive into it deeper, but it goes deep.
Yeah, I actually tried to start a company about advertising for AI because it was just so obvious. It's like, oh, everyone's uploading crazy amounts of data into this place, and they're using it as their personal, therapist. Like, tell me one channel for marketing that's not had AI or just not had advertising just blasted all over it. So yeah, people, if you don't know that's coming, that's 1,000% coming.
Yeah, and we trust it. That's the other thing. Like we trust the AI, and that's something that people can do today is just second guess the answers that it's given to you. It's so easy, and we're pretty damn lazy as a race and a humanity, like as humanity, where we just believe it. We believe what we read. You shouldn't. And I have a funny little aside. I was in Thailand, and I was in some random jungle asking OpenAI, or it was Claude, hey, are there any like killer animals that like should I watch out for anything specific? And they said, no, like there's maybe some spiders and some jaguars, but you should be generally fine. And I get to the hostel or place I was staying at, and I talk to the guy at the front desk. And I ask him like, hey, is there anything I should watch out for? He goes, yeah, absolutely. There was an entire family that was trampled by elephants like 2 days ago, like right next door. And I'm like, oh, like my AI didn't tell me any of that. So, like you gotta be diligent here. You can't just believe everything you read.
I gotta say, I probably would have been out with the AI on that one. I wouldn't have even thought elephants. I would have thought poisonous snakes, spiders. So it shows you that AI is already at my level of intelligence, and it's only going farther, people.
It passed the Turing test of a little while ago, and now we're just trying to like guess the next test, and so it's it's uncertain. That's all I got.
So now we've got the trusted execution environments, and there's the verifiable compute. So talk to us a little bit about like near AI and how you see people using it in the future. Is it like, hey, I'm going to know exactly that like the code on my agent is good, it's a good actor? Like, talk to us a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah. So one, the user. I'm sorry to have so little faith in humanity, but we cannot expect the user to care. They're not going to really do the harder thing. And that harder thing a lot of times is like understanding how these complex systems work or even checking to see if it's the right, website. So like on the internet today, when you go and search, like you type in a URL, there's the HTTPS, protocol just to kind of show you, hey, this website has been certified that it like meets this basic level of security. So like, and a lot of browsers don't even let you connect to websites that don't have that guarantee. And so we need sort of that level of standards, and we're seeing this slowly come out, but we're still in the phase of like getting all these like agents to talk to each other before even considering like security standards. So we're still in the talking phase. Like, how do we even discover like what is valuable and what is not? And so, yeah, short answer is people shouldn't have to care. We absolutely need to sort of hide all of this complexity under it. And it's all sort of in that discovery piece. This is what makes Google billions of dollars a year. This is where the advertising comes in. It is around like, how do you know which website to click? Google's whole business model is based on people receiving ads to push certain websites to you, so you click them. This is only going to be bigger in AI. And what I ultimately want is to create a way where kind of kill the ad-based revenue model and create more of a contribution-based revenue model where you as a user are rewarded to give your data, you're paid to a model to first you can be trained with, and if your data is relevant to it, you get paid in perpetuity for its usage. And the people who created that model, if people see a lot of value in it, well, they pay for that model, and that payment goes to fund everybody. So maybe it's a little naive, but this is a lot of what's described in the Decentralized Confidential Machine Learning paper. And the whole point is, how do we create a sustainable, really like knowledge economy in a world of AI, where humans are still at the center? It's not all agents running wild.
Yeah, I do. I'm sure you know of the dead internet theory. I tend to. I initially was skeptical, and now I see probably in the future, like maybe 5 years, like I'm seeing all of my content creator friends like just really specialize in how quickly they can get AI to generate content for them. It's like, are we going to really even have human made content for for the compensation to flow back to the human? If like Claude's like, actually, I generated that.
Well, I think it's going to take different forms. If Claude generated it, you were looking at it for a certain period of time. And you even looking at it for a certain period of time, which, by the way, like Twitter and all these other social media platforms, like they very much so track. They can rank, or you, I mean, this sounds absolutely crazy. And like, shout out to the basic attention token and the Brave team for like pioneering a lot of this effort. But like, your attention is the currency. And so humans are still the primary economic actor of today. I don't see that changing until we have a lot of this like infrastructure built out. Now, I'm a little conflicted because like I'm worried about this future, but at the same time, I almost think it's a prerequisite in order to solve humanity's biggest issues. Like we've had a long time to figure out climate change. The incentives aren't aligned to solve these giant coordination problems. And I actually do think we need to give up some level of governance, decision making power. Still have a seat at the table. We're not giving up completely, but like have some help in addressing these huge issues. And I do think it's going to require this infrastructure that we're building. It should be optionally private. It should be able to pay each other. It needs to like be verifiable. In a perfect world, there's not a single party who can influence everything. This is kind of the whole mission of crypto, just applied in another vertical, which is kind of why I'm so excited.
Yeah. Also, the other thing is proof of humanity. I feel like is going to be absolutely crucial because you'll just want to. I feel like the deep fake potential is coming so fast that people probably can't. I have a friend who has an AI channel. He doesn't speak at all on it. It's his face yapping, and I'm just like, it's so good now. I can barely tell the difference, and I can only imagine sped up for a year that like it will have to have like a built by AI stamp on it.
There are certain standards that are coming out. It's primarily being pushed by Adobe and like these. I'm trying to pull them up as we speak. The it's like a photo authenticity standard. They're actually embedding certain hardware on certain cameras and video cameras to prove that like, hey, this image was created via this verifiable camera. Now there's a bit of a asterisk there is like that camera provider is now the source of truth. And so whoever, whether it be Nikon or anyone, like they can pretty much determine what is real and what is fake. And that's a pretty powerful role for a for-profit, a lot of the times publicly traded company whose who's actually legally bounded to maximize shareholder value. So I'm a little conflicted with that. This is why I'm a fan of open protocols. And I do think that like a lot of these things will open up over time after there are problems. So it's like we regulate, and then there's a corruption issue, and then we deregulate, or like innovation issue, like lack of innovation, and then it's like way too far to the acceleration side, and it's like whoa, we got to regulate. So it's like this constant back and forth, and we'll hopefully find somewhere in the middle that will protect people.
The healthy middle ground. I remember interviewing somebody. I think they're from there's essentially like two research labs, Stanford and USC, that coordinated on like a photo standard similar to this for journalists that they could be like, no, this picture was actually taken in a war zone in this particular time period. Now, I think one thing that is very curious to people, and they don't actually have that much exposure to it, although hearing a lot about it, they hear about agents this, agents that. Most people I know, like they're not really using agents unless they're very hyper business focused on being like, I need a lead gen agent to scrape LinkedIn and send cold outbound.
Yeah, I call these useful agents. I'm not bearish on agent to agent communication and transactions and commerce. We're just super early. Like, we don't have the useful agents to pay other agents to do things right now. And if we do, you're right, it's in a business context, which, by the way, is huge opportunity. Like, that does not go to say, like, this is not valuable. It's just not relevant for my grandma or my mom or someone like an everyday user. So we're going to see this change over time. Um, I'm very optimistic the whole internet experience will change drastically. Um, there'll still be websites, like websites will still kind of exist, but like the everyday person probably won't navigate the web like we do today. It's going to be much more curated and sent to us through some sort of personal assistant. Um, and that personal assistant needs to know your preferences and your, needs to be personalizing your content. In order to do that, it needs to have some sort of like very large context window to understand who you are and what you like. Because if I go order coffee, guess what? They might give me uncooked beans. Like, like it's going to hallucinate. And so it needs to know your preferences. And so what we're really working on is this whole stack of tech. This like user owned AI thing is not one thing. It's like you need, encrypted vector databases so you can like personalize your agent with like guaranteed safety and trust. You need like all the hosting, TE hosting environments to ensure that your agent's interactions are encrypted at all times and there's not some party in the back end who can read your deepest, darkest secrets and like sell you something regarding them. You need to ensure that like even the hardware on your phone is being used to store your private keys, and there's solid backups for all of this. Like it's not one thing. And this is what I love about where crypto is today. Like I've been doing this for about like 8 years or so, and I'm finally feeling like we're at this point where we can make crypto invisible, make this like privacy piece invisible. And we saw this last week with Stripe Sessions, which is like their big conference. They announced some serious stuff. Like most businesses or almost all businesses using Stripe will come with a wallet. That's wild. Like now they can accept USDC transfers. That's fantastic. Like this is a huge step forward that we would only dream about 8 years ago. And so we're getting there, but there's obviously a lot of space to grow.
Yeah, I'd found, and I guess the more I'd used crypto for my business, the more I found that like, although we have these advancements like a Stripe buying bridge, I still found many gaps. It's like, okay, well, how do I pay? How do I get like somebody on a subscription to draw down their wallet? I'm just like, we're still missing some of this core infrastructure. So like, I feel like we're in such a good place, but still sometimes to me, I get like semi blackfilled on crypto where I'm like, man, I feel like we have a long way to go.
So I will say a lot of these problems have been solved. They're just not easily discoverable. So like I actually have a solution for your like
Perfect,
subscription
perfect,
thing.
yeah.
Like it's called Croncat. It exists. It's been audited. It works. You can use it, but Stripe has to adopt it. Like there's always that who's going to distribute. And so a lot of this stuff exists. It's about piecing it all together and making it palatable for an end user. And so this is where like Near AI is obviously focused on a lot of this like infrastructure, and that's important. But that's not going to lead to the world changing with grandma owning her data and her owning her AI. It's going to have to be through some assistant, something that is familiar to her. And we don't think that like we're the best positioned in order to like build this multi-billion user consumer facing app. Instead, our approach is a bit more B2B2C. So we build a privacy preserving assistant that is able to call the agents that are verified that are hosted in this like TE cloud that we're working with the Follow Network with a lot. They're fantastic. I think they've done some work with OG or Zero Gravity, and they are. It's amazing. Like if we can actually get all these useful agents hosted in this trusted hardware, make it callable through an assistant, and then have the distribution channel that Near already has. We have 30 million weekly active users. We can get an assistant displayed on every one of those users, like, and they're all mobile, by the way. All these users are using phones. Um, Boom, like that's a big step forward. And then from there, prove it out, do it again, more partners, more partners, more partners, and it's white labeled. That's the best piece. So like Sweatcoin or like Sweat Economy will have their own Sweat assistant. They already have one. It's pretty cool. So it's called Mia, I believe. And so yeah, I think this is like all very possible, but it does require this like giant coordination effort to like bring all these pieces together.
Yeah, well, you guys are doing a great job. So I remember interviewing, who was it? It was, I believe it was David from Lick Protocol, and he was talking about the agentic economy, and that we might see the death of like the app paradigm. And it seems like you might be alluding to this. It's like, the idea of just sitting in front of a very curved screen like I have, and using all these different applications might be a thing of the past. Where do you think it will ultimately go? Is there will be like a super assistant on people's phones that will
yes.
completely, yeah.
I mean, in a nutshell, yes. I think that I hate having to navigate the web, honestly. Like if I can, I mean, I'm not saying full brain to computer interface, but like if I could just have a network of things running behind the scenes, making sure that the things I need to do get done and only prioritizing the things that are most valuable to me. You know how many bullshit Telegram messages I get per day? like, like it's insane. Like it's just solving that like one little issue, or just like auto responding, "Hey, it's great to connect. Like, uh, please send me your availability, or find the time to send me your availability. Like, find the best day and time to chat here." Like, that's automatable super easily.
Or a
So
verifiability thing, be like, this is actually Cameron.
yeah, or Jax. Like, I don't like. I think you DM me, and I'm like, do I even like? How do I know it's
Do I
you?
know this
Like,
guy? Yeah.
yeah, there's so many problems here. So um, I went to the WorldCoin launch, the US launch recently in San Francisco. Super cool. I think it's amazing what they're doing. I'm probably not going to scam out Eyeball until I see enough value added to.
Fair,
Just
fair.
yeah, I need to see. There needs to be like a real compelling reason, and it's not going to be a $200 airdrop. So, uh, but I like the mission. I'd say my biggest takeaway is that this is OpenAI's finance and banking play. Because why do you need identity? You need identity for, well, credit is at least what my mind jumped to, and in order, and like the human verifiability piece is important, but like it's primarily going to be money. Um, Crypto is great for moving money, coordinating people. So I actually think that like OpenAI is going to go hard on WorldCoin for a finance and banking angle.
Yeah, I was always wondering why they particularly were doing that, but that makes complete sense. It's like, yeah, you want verifiability for like credit distribution, things of that nature. Now, I was talking with I forgot what VC it was the other day. It's like, on a long enough timeline, crypto just becomes fintech and AI just becomes every single company. Like, there's not going to be a
Yeah,
differentiation of like, this is an AI company versus this is not. He's like, no, you're either an AI company or you're a dead company. I don't know how much you agree with that philosophy.
spot on. I would change it. Like fintech is definitely the mechanism, but I'd say like the underlying value of fintech is like value itself. It's saying like, hey, like I'm able to quantify my utility to this network, or my value, and I should be compensated for that. So I'd almost say crypto is like the incentive layer, and everything else is AI.
Wow. Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. And then, well, you've been super generous with your time. Finally, where can people learn more about you, learn more about Near AI, and what all is going on over there?
Yeah, the Twitter, I have been running it myself, which is wild, which is great. It's good to, get into the trenches. So near AI Twitter, near underscore AI. And on Twitter, I am Cameron underscore Dennis. And you can also go to app.near.ai. And we have blog posts that get shipped there frequently. We are going to be hiring a lot more soon. We are going to be coming out with a lot of cool stuff. I can't say that much more. Oh, one other thing that might be kind of cool and important to flag is like there's an entire near AI ecosystem. A lot of what I described here is just like a couple of initiatives happening inside of the Near AI company. But there's so many. I think there's over like 25 or 30 different startups building AI related applications on your protocol. And to be totally honest, I'm so much more excited about what they're up to because this is what I mean. It needs to come all together. It's not going to be one company delivering this vision of the user owned internet. It has to be grassroots. And so, um, yeah, I'm much more excited about that. And then we actually host a weekly live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, where we invite different teams across the ecosystem to present their updates. And think of it like a decentralized engineering stand up. Um, so we do that every week. Come check it out. It's definitely a good place to learn who's building what.
Absolutely. Well, everyone go follow Cameron, go follow the Near account, of course, and go check out the live stream. And until that, let's continue building the future of decentralized AI.